My fiance Hannah and myself were out at Elk Lake, just exploring, having a little time to ourselves. And there's a fox just right there, and didn't seem scared of us or anything. And he just kind of came towards us and just right in front of the truck. And we just couldn't believe it. It was just such a beautiful sighting.
It's easy to be a citizen scientist in this day and age when everyone has a smartphone and camera.
If you have a great wildlife observation, we would ask you to be responsible when you're taking a photo. Something on your phone is perfectly fine. You don't need to get up close so that we can see all the identifying marks. We don't need you to harass the wildlife at all to get this photo. And then you can put your photo on iNaturalist, and then wildlife biologists associated with the project will go and confirm that it's the species that you thought it was, and then we can add it to our database, and we can use that to help us understand life histories of that species, habitat use of that species, and really just occurrence data is great to have as well.
Wildlife observations submitted by the public through the iNaturalist and eBird mobile apps are a tremendous help to wildlife biologists who can't be everywhere at once.
The sighting of the wolverine here in Central Oregon was something that was submitted by the public, is how we were first cued in on it. We really use these public sightings, and they're very valuable to us. Then it actually gets logged in our database, and then that's how we make management decisions, is by pulling down that database, and we can filter it by different species, and then that's how we make decisions. It's a great way for the whole community to be involved in management.
There's a distinct difference between documenting wildlife and harassing them.
Dude, that thing will kill you!
Don't be that guy who gets too close in order to get an impressive shot and ends up getting bitten, kicked, gored, trampled, or tossed.
So let me guess, you're not one of those people who would go to Yellowstone and try to pose with a bison?
Not something we would recommend. And we see that a lot, especially with smartphones. Everyone's got a camera in their back pocket, and it's really tempting to want to get a really cool photo that you can post on social media or show your friends back home, but that's not safe for you or the animal. And we want to make sure that they stay wild by respecting their space.
Next tonight here, the tragedy at Yellowstone National Park involving a baby bison after two tourists put the bison in their car, thinking they were saving it from the cold.
Another thing you can do to keep wildlife wild is to not feed them. Sure, they look hungry, and they probably are, but finding food is what wild animals do.
If they become used to getting food from humans, it can be problematic in a couple of different ways. One is if they become more habituated to places that our humans are using, they're going to cross back and forth, to have different habitat areas that they're using. And we've seen quite a number of road strikes. So, you might think that this fox looks hungry in the wintertime and needs food or water, but it actually is contributing to danger for that species and potential road strikes.
Another thing a responsible wildlife watcher does is acknowledge their mere presence impacts wildlife, whether animals are seen or not.
Whether I'm hiking, biking, trail running, you name it, it is having an impact. If I see wildlife, that's great. That is something that for me really enriches the experience, and I really enjoy that part, and it makes me happy to see that they're out there. But again, I'm keeping a safe distance. I'm not approaching it, trying to get closer to take a better photo. I'm respecting that space and wait for the animal to move across the trail before I proceed forward, and just respecting that animal's space and use of that area too.
You can donate to the Oregon Conservation and Recreation Fund that directs dollars to researching sensitive species such as Lewis woodpeckers and northwestern pond turtles, and improves recreation access.
Sometimes folks call and, they're not hunters, but they do want to do something to either mitigate their impact from recreation and be a responsible recreator. And that's a really easy way. You can buy a hunting license, and that money comes directly to us. And you don't have to use it to go hunting, but that's a good way to make a donation to the management of the species as well.
While not a pleasant subject, citizen observations of roadkill help efforts to create safe wildlife passages under and over busy highways. I'm Brooks Snavely for The Great Outdoors.